China halts the day's trading as shares plunge more than 7% and speeds up the devaluation of the yuan to its lowest level in 5 years. New information about British terror suspects evading exit checks and joining Islamic State abroad increases pressure on London. And the People's Choice Awards picks Furious 7 as its favorite movie and Johnny Depp for favorite movie actor. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us at I24 News. I'm Benjamin Chong Alfares. We begin in Libya, where a military training center in the western town of Sinitin was hit by a truck bomb this morning, causing dozens of casualties, witnesses said. The casualties included civilians, some of whom were taken to hospital in the nearby city of Misrata. We'll have more information as it becomes available. China halted the day's trading 30 minutes after opening on Thursday morning as shares plunged by more than 7%, triggering an automatic circuit breaker and eventually halting trade for the day. China also surprised markets today by speeding up the devaluation of the yuan, setting the official midpoint rate at 6.5646 yuan per dollar, the lowest since March 2011. More in the following report.
Chinese markets have suspended trading for the second time this week. This after shares fell more than 7% on Thursday. The weakening yuan currency value has led to an Asia-wide sell-off amid growing fears about China, the world's number 2 economy and a key driver of global growth. This week's losses mark one of the worst starts to a trading year in decades, in what some are saying is a perfect storm of weak global growth combined with a slump in oil prices. The People's Bank of China again surprised markets by setting the official midpoint rate at 6.564 per dollar, its lowest since March 2011. That was 0.5% weaker than the day before, and the biggest daily drop since last August, when an abrupt near 2% devaluation of the currency also roiled markets, wiping trillions of dollars off valuations. The carnage in China has seeped through to global markets this week, and Asian trading floors continue to see red. The Australian dollar fell half a US cent in the blink on Thursday. Shanghai stocks meanwhile slid 7.3%, a repeat performance of Monday's sudden tumble. European shares have fallen sharply as well.
South Korean Defense Minister Han Min-koo said he discussed North Korea's latest nuclear test with U.S. counterpart Ash Carter, who reaffirmed America's commitment to Seoul. North Korea is presumed to be in the advanced stages of miniaturizing nuclear bombs to be loadable onto ballistic missiles, possibly including hydrogen bombs. Mai Margit has the story.
World powers have condemned North Korea over its latest nuclear test and are considering new punitive actions against Kim Jong-un's regime. On Thursday, South Korea's defense minister said he spoke with his U.S. counterpart Ash Carter, just hours after the North announced it successfully tested a hydrogen bomb. During their meeting, the U.S. reaffirmed its commitment to defending South Korea.
We agreed that the provocation would be an unacceptable and irresponsible provocation that threatens the peace and stability of the Korean Peninsula and the entire Asia-Pacific region. We also agreed that North Korea's provocations should have consequences.
The UN Security Council also held an emergency session and said it is working on a new draft resolution that will include, quote, significant measures. After speaking with Japan's foreign minister, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry underscored the need for an international response. Meanwhile, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said his country would be considering measures of its own against Pyongyang.
This morning I held a phone conference with President Obama. We agreed that the provocative act by North Korea is unacceptable, and through a measure by the United Nations Security Council, the two nations will lead the international community. And I was able to again check the U.S.'s commitment. It will use various means to protect Japan.
The underground explosion in North Korea shook the earth so hard that it registered as a seismic event with U.S. earthquake monitors. North Korea has a long history of voicing belligerent rhetoric against the United States and its Asian allies. Yet Pyongyang's announcement on Wednesday that it had successfully tested a hydrogen bomb, much more powerful than its atomic equivalent, came as a surprise. Even so, nuclear experts have cast doubt on the claim.
It's early to judge from the earthquake magnitude. However, it is hard to believe that this is a real hydrogen bomb given this scale, but we can possibly say that this is a boosted fission bomb at the most.
World powers are pressing for a swift and robust new UN resolution against Pyongyang. but a clear response has not yet been spelled out. And it is unlikely major powers will be willing to take the tough steps necessary to force the Kim regime to abandon its weapons program by calling for an all-out economic offensive, the likes of which ultimately forced Iran to the nuclear negotiating table.
At least 5 prominent British Islamists linked to the same extremist group as the man suspected of being the new jihadi John left the UK in the last 20 months despite being subject to travel bans, The Independent reports. Records show that the 5 men, 3 of whom have since been killed in airstrikes in Syria and Pakistan, all succeeded in evading exit checks. Given this new information, London will be pressured to tighten monitoring of individuals known to be at risk of traveling to Syria. We were joined a short while ago by our correspondent Jonathan Sashardati with more regarding London's expected response to the latest findings.
The most famous case at the moment is the man suspected of being the jihadi in the execution video released by Islamic State just a few days ago. The man with the British accent, Dar, who is 32 years old and is suspected of being that particular executioner. He escaped while he was on police bail by taking a coach to Paris and then moving into the rest of mainland Europe and then eventually into Syria. So the talk about how this can be redressed is not really profiling as such, but more rigorous police checks. These are people who should have been on no-fly lists, who should not have been able to leave the country with proper border controls upon exiting Britain. So really, without the need for any extra draconian measures, it's quite possible to tighten up the borders.
Israel's Justice Minister Ayelet Shaked is expected to meet the U.S. ambassador to Israel in coming days to discuss Washington's reservations over a new bill targeting foreign-funded NGOs. The so-called Transparency Bill requires NGOs who receive more than 50% of their funding from foreign governments to identify themselves as such in their publications. U.S. State Department spokesperson John Kirby said yesterday that a free and functioning civil society is an essential element of a healthy democracy. But Israel's Justice Minister Ayelet Shaked compared the Israeli bill to the Foreign Agents Registration Act, the American law restricting foreign lobbyists. The Los Angeles County District Attorney has declined to bring criminal charges against comedian Bill Cosby for sexual assault allegations dating back to 1965 and 2008, saying that prosecution in both cases was barred by the statute of limitations. One of the women, Chloe Goins, had alleged the veteran comedian drugged and molested her at the Playboy Mansion in Los Angeles in 2008 when she was a minor. Goins' attorney said they recognize that the bar for criminal prosecution, which is proving guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, is extremely high, but a civil lawsuit filed by Goins against Cosby in October 2015 will still proceed. As Hollywood's inner industry circles prepare to hand out their awards, the People's Choice Awards held their own Democratic Awards in downtown Los Angeles on Wednesday. The People's Choice Awards honored music, television, and film, with winners including Meghan Trainor for Favorite Album, Sandra Bullock for Favorite Movie Actress, and Johnny Depp for Favorite Movie Actor. Actor Vin Diesel picked up the award for Favorite Movie for Furious 7, while Dakota Johnson won the award for Favorite Dramatic Movie Actress for her role in 50 Shades of Grey. Following receipt of the award, Depp had the following response.
I'm considerably blown away by this because it comes from the people, once again, the people who are the people who give us the jobs, who keep us employed, and I'm happy to be employed.
Blockbuster movie Star Wars The Force Awakens passed Avatar on Wednesday, becoming the top-selling film of all time in the United States and Canada. The Force Awakens has taken in $1.5 billion so far globally and is already the 4th highest-grossing movie of all time after just 3 weeks in release. To beat the global record haul of $2.8 billion for Avatar, The Force Awakens must play well in China, where it opens on Saturday. Creator George Lucas sold the franchise to Disney in 2012 for $4.05 billion. And we end with breaking news from Cairo, where a tourist bus gunman was attacked near a hotel. 2 Israeli tourists are said to be at the site as well. No deaths were reported. We'll be back here in 20 minutes with more on these reports, and of course online with any updates. Thank you for watching.